breakdown of the FIFA analysis project. So first off, we are importing all the libraries and methods needed for this project. We then begin by reading in the data sets into a data frame using the pandas library. Next, we begin the data cleaning preparation process of the data sets so that we can work with the data easily for analysis. So first off, we are dropping off all unneeded columns that are not going to influence our analysis to make it easier to work with and read from. We are then reformatting a few other columns to make it much easier to work with. Next, we want to handle all missing values, so we perform a sum of all the columns with missing values. And then after doing this, we are going to then impute the values for all the columns with missing values using the KNN imputer. After we check to see if there are any more values or columns that have missing values, and it's shown that none of them have any missing values. Next, we want to gain some insight into our data sets, and to do so, we describe the data using the pandas describe function to get an example of what we are working with. After doing that, we then begin to perform a visual analysis of the data sets to make it more easier to understand what's going on in the data sets. So first off, we want to know the top 20 players from the data sets that we've been given. So here we are creating a bar chart which is going to then show us the top 20 players based on their overall rating. And then in the bar chart, it's shown that Lionel Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo, and Neymar are the top 3 players out of the 20. Next, we move on to visualizing penalties scored by the position of players. And here we use the box plots visualization to do so. So this is the visualization of all the penalties scored by the various players in the various positions. Next, we want to know the ages of players or the age groups of players, and here we also use the bar charts to help us plot the age group of players. And from here we can see that for the category of 16 years we have 28 players that are 16 years. The category of 17 years we have 211 players that are 17, and so on. Next, we move to visualizing the mobility stats and then their factors for the various players. So here we use a pair plot diagram or diagrams to help us see which factors have an influence and how much of an influence they have. So we are visualizing height, weight, speed, sprint speed, acceleration, and agility. Next, we are going to use a correlation matrix to determine how strong the relationship between these stats are, to see which one has a greater influence than which. This is the visual representation of the correlation matrix. Next, we are going to use the t-test to determine if there's a significant difference in the number of penalties between the two groups of players, which is center midfielders and then strikers. And here the result is displayed here. Next, we want to determine the passing accuracy for players in each league from the data set. And to do this, we are going to use the ANOVA value to determine if there's a significant difference in passing accuracy between the leagues. And this is the result of that computation. Next, we are going to build various machine learning models to be able to determine a target value, which is the acceleration, based off of certain stats. Uh, so here, this is the code to build the model, and after building the model, we make a prediction. We then use various evaluation values to determine how well the model performed. These values being mean absolute error, mean squared error, root mean squared error, and root squared value. The results of all these computations are displayed here. Next, the next model we develop is the multi-level perception model. And here we are doing much of the same things we did for the linear regression model, where we build the model and then make a prediction. We then use the same values to determine how performance the model is, and then the results are displayed here also. Lastly, we build a third model, which is the random forest regression model, where we then build a model and then also make a prediction and use the evaluation values to also determine how well it has performed. So comparing all these three models will be and how they performed using the various evaluation values that we've decided to use, we will be able to determine which one is more performance than the other. And this brings us to the end of the code breakdown of the FIFA analysis project.